Art and Soul miniseries Adventurelands, Part 23. I'd practically worked myself to the bone, cleaning the whole house inside and out, brushing out my hair till it was tangle-free for the first time in my life. I even prayed, or at least I did kneel down for a bit with my hands together. I managed to, I think convincingly, pretend to pray to the gods that only showed themselves to special people. As if anyone isn't special. What kind of criteria would even qualify someone as special enough to meet the gods? Seriously, it's probably some complete load of crap that's chosen entirely arbitrarily. Once I'd finally finished the list, Headmaster Mom nodded slightly as she checked over each room and examined my hair for tangles. After spending so much time combing and cleaning everything, it was a relief to see her accepting the results. I was used to her telling me that I'd missed this or that, but for once, I'd turned off all the anxiety in my brain and managed to focus entirely on the cleaning. I got every nook and cranny cleaned and organized. Those little nods of approval meant more to me than all the nice words she'd ever said to me. Finally, she agreed to let me move out of the house. She said I wasn't allowed to have a roommate yet, because of the strangeness on my birthday every year, but I could finally live on my own without being quizzed every night, and having to do a ton of even more ridiculous stuff just to keep her happy. The magic movers had everything transferred in the blink of an eye. My new room was a little bit smaller than my room at home, but that was fine by me. The size of my room had never mattered much to me anyway. So long as I've got enough room for my bed and a place to tinker with the magic items I keep trying and so far failing to fix. The next morning, I had a renewed sense of purpose. Having gone to bed without being quizzed was one of the strangest and most glorious experiences of my life. I woke up in my new room feeling more refreshed than I thought was even possible. I was actually looking forward to going to class today, even though I still hadn't figured out the first thing about how I could cast the spell. I still enjoyed listening to Professor Peralta ramble on about magic theories that I've already learned. Sometimes it's nice to let my brain kind of idle while listening to things I already know. As I was staring out the window, only cursorily paying any attention to the class, just enough to make sure I still understood everything they did in discussing, I saw something I did not expect to see ever again. The same demon that my mom had defeated last year was once again charging at the school. I was so flabbergasted I couldn't even bring anyone's attention to it. I had no idea how this was happening. Demons, once defeated, must return to the library to serve their patron gods again. Unless one of the gods hated us and was trying to destroy the school for some reason, none of this made any sense. If a god wanted us gone, why not just wipe us out? Even the weakest of the gods could do that with ease. There was no reason for them to try something like this, something that's already failed once. Behind me, I heard Weasel shout in his nasal voice, "What in the true name of evil is that?" I didn't turn to look where he was pointing, after all, I already knew. In half a heartbeat, most of the class was pressed against the window. I realized that I'd probably drawn Weasel's attention to it when I subconsciously stood up after seeing it. The mad demon rampaged straight towards our room, swatting away anyone who was foolish enough to try standing in its way. Eventually, I saw Headmaster Mom appear in the courtyard, directly in the beast's path. It seemed to recognize her instantly. Stopping short, it eyed her up and down, glaring deep into her soul. I couldn't see it directly, because Mom was facing the same way I was, but I think she glared just as deeply into that monster, because he seemed to recoil slightly at her expression. The beast roared and dropped to all fours while focusing all its concentration on Mom, which made it all the more surprising when Mr. Peralta let out a shout of, "Finally found you!" in a surprisingly higher pitch than any of us had assumed he could produce. Then, in the blink of an eye, our teacher was outside, kneeing the monster in the face. It was clearly shocked when he appeared, especially since he was just as strong as my mom, the dragon herself. Its huge eyes shifted suspiciously back and forth between the two of them. eventually settling on something behind either of them. It was focused on me.